There's not been one time that we've had people over that we've not been blessed. Hi, my name is Christine Siddons, and welcome to the Want of Mama podcast. I am a mom to 8 children, and I'm also a grandmother. And today I've actually wanted to do this podcast for a while. It just hasn't happened. We've been trying to plan this podcast, but it is almost the holidays, and so it's perfect timing. Today's podcast is on hospitality, and I have my friend Monica with me, and we are going to talk about hospitality. So if you could please introduce yourself.
My name is Monica. I'm a mother of 4. I was born in Waco, Texas, raised in Las Cruces, got saved here and have never left.
Nice. And if you hear kiddos in the back, we both have our youngest playing. Our guys are out, so we are home alone with our children.
Yes.
So we go to church together, and that's how we know each other. And I don't even know how long we've known each other. What year did you start coming?
13.
Okay, so we've known each other for 13 years. But I feel like just recently, we really had the opportunity to
Get to know each other.
yeah. So our church, we are a fellowshipping church, and so we're together all the time. And I just thought it'd be really good because part of the fellowshipping, like the goal of fellowshipping, is not only for us to get closer to one another, but also to have the new people come in and get established and things like that. Because I really feel like hospitality is a form to winning souls.
Yes.
How, for our people who don't go to our church, we have revivals all the time. And a revival service is usually for us Sunday through Friday. You have church services every night and you have an evangelist come in and preach. So it's not your regular pastor. So we have different pastors come in all the time and we're in church all the time. And then how long has our church been doing these fellowships?
Since 2023.
Okay, so for a couple of years, so that after every service, we used to go to the after service on Fridays, right? It was at the church.
Yeah, every night was at the
Okay, now we host it at people's houses.
Yeah.
And so Monica and I, we both have a night that we host, and so it's like a big gigantic potluck. So every night there's a fellowship after the revival service.
Yeah.
So that's what we're kind of talking about.
Yeah.
And I've actually been doing it for a year, and you've been doing it the whole even before it was a thing, right?
Yes.
So when and how did you guys start being
Well, it started when a family would ask our family to use our house for a certain ministry. And then that's when we're like, oh, we like people here.
right?
Yeah. And at first it was uncomfortable because I'm kind of antisocial and not, I like customer service and so that's where I guess I get the servant,
Right.
Wanting to serve people and how can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's different out there versus in your home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to get it clean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like you where I'm more of an introvert and I get nervous to have people over. So after we do, I love the fellowships, but after the fellowships, I have to kind of recoup and just go in my cave.
Yeah. The next day I'm usually I'm not doing nothing.
Yes, exactly. But one thing that I've learned through all this, so for us, the opportunity came up because there was another family that was not able to host on Friday nights.
Yeah.
And a Friday night was perfect for us because my husband gets up so early for work in the morning. And so I remember I overheard that there was an open and a need. And so I just hey, Robert, blah, 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 blah. What do you think? And I was even kind of I kind of don't want to do this. So I was kind of hoping that he would say no. But I knew that it was we can do this.
Yeah.
And part of me wanted to take back our home because so much had happened in our home, negative.
Yeah.
That I wanted our house to be a blessing again.
Yeah.
And so, so he said yes. And literally, in 2 weeks, we had an opportunity. We're okay, it's revival in 2 weeks. We got to get our stuff together.
Yeah.
And so I remember going on, we had a hostess chat. And I remember you were just being so helpful and just so gracious and just encouraging. And I love that about you because that to me is part of the spirit of hospitality.
Yeah.
And so, do you like what does hospitality mean to you?
For me, it's welcoming people. So, obviously when I think of hospitality, I'm thinking of like hotel hospitality and tourism.
Right.
So that's making people feel comfortable. So making sure like just kind of like serving people that they come into your house with a smile and they're like leaving with a smile.
Right.
And that's kind of like how the business world would view that word as well as they want you to come and go and enjoy your stay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy your stay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's how I feel too. Like I've prayed a lot that God, when people come into our house, I pray that they not only enjoy the food, enjoy the company, but they feel refreshed
Yes.
and that they feel loved,
Yeah.
and accepted.
Right.
Because I don't want people to come to my house and be like, well, that was really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So like I don't want that. You guys said you guys kind of got started by you guys are like you had a Bible study at your house and you guys kind of taking turns and you're like, hey, this is great. And so did you and your husband like both agree that oh let's do this or was it one or the other?
So when it started, actually, my heart was not in it.
Mhm.
Like you had mentioned, like, when there's like your home is not at rest or like, there's tension and stuff like that. And so, I was like putting the heels,
Yeah.
a little bit. And then just like, me like, okay, fine, whatever. Right. So then I'm doing my little parts of whatever, like making sure the house is clean.
Right. Right.
And so they brought in the food and,
Okay.
because it was our first one.
Right.
So we're just like, yeah, you can use our house.
Mhm.
I don't know what you want us to do. But through that first ministry that they wanted to use our house and how you mentioned you wanted your house to be a blessing, like I would definitely say that had a big play of where our home went from that, like where my heels were up. And my heels were up in a lot of areas. And I
Right.
think that like really like it just like lowered the tension in like more areas than just, like in my heart, like where then I was like, oh well, where else is like pastor needing like help? You know what I mean? So then you're just opening yourself up more to how can I help? How can I be a
So
blessing
yeah.
outside of my home? Like, because
Yeah.
you feel it in your home, and then like, if your tank is like full, then you have some to share. But if it's
Right.
empty, then you
Right.
don't have.
So this like opened your heart to
Uh,
serving in other areas.
yeah, to be a servant. Yeah, like a servant's heart.
Isn't that also how God like just puts this little thing in our heart or like opens this little door?
Yeah.
But then he knows like okay, I can use you in all these other areas if you just say yes here.
Yes, if you just.
Yeah. And for those that don't know Monica, she serves so much and you just have like such a willing heart to just oh, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Yeah.
And I'll help here. Like I'm always seeing you helping.
Yeah. I've had to like minister to myself and be like, okay, you have to say no sometime.
Yes.
You have to say yes to everything.
Yes. Oh, that was a lesson that I had to kind of learn the hard way. And I still have a hard time feeling bad when I say no.
Yeah.
So it was just calling in Jared and I was like so active in ministries and then they were in public school, so I was on the PTA and like all these things. And my plate was overflowing. And my husband does not tell me no, like or tell me to get out of anything, but he spoke up and he was like, I think you need to give something up. And Robert doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, if my husband's saying something, then I need to cut something out.
Yeah.
And so that's been something that I've really like been intentional about trying to learn and be good about is saying no because and then too when I say no, oh, I can't do that, but it leaves an open spot here. I try not to just fill it with something else, right?
Yeah.
And so like, no, I need to like take this spot and spend it with God or spend it with my family or not at something else, right?
Yes.
And so that is a hard one to learn.
Yeah.
And so, and I think for me, that also stems from rejection.
Yeah.
And my self-esteem, like if I say no, then they're not going to like me.
Right.
But it's like, well, if I say yes to everything, I'm not going to get my house clean. I'm not going to be able to school my kids. I'm not going to spend time with my husband. Like, so something has to give. And so that is a hard balance. So I totally feel you on that. And so I've learned to just know I can't and be okay with that.
Yeah.
And so I'm not all the way there, but I'm much better than I used to be. But I totally understand what you're
Yes.
saying. So you also open your home for like many other events, parties, Bible studies. And so you kind of talked about this, like hosting doesn't come naturally to you, or is this something that you kind of just learned and asked God to like help you with?
I think a little bit has came naturally, but maybe through like childhood. I was always being observant of like I see my grandpa in the kitchen and or he's, whatever, and I'm like quick to like try and be ahead of him and like try to help. Like I don't know if that was like whatever little things that healing issues inside me that I felt good. So I would always like try to like I just remember like the small things like my mom, her shoes in her closet, and I would like to go in there and like make them all in a row.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
So you've always been a servant then.
I think so, but I don't know if that was like a rejection of I don't know what, but like it made me feel.
But
Good.
is that like one of your love languages?
I think my love language is like gifts.
Okay. If that rejection played out that way, it sounded like how you gravitated towards service, and it sounded like you have like a servant's heart anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
When I got into the hospitality, the hosting ministry, I wanted to really learn what it meant. So I looked it up, and one of the places I looked up was on Pinterest, and which was funny because I was looking things up and it like led me to Pinterest. So there were a couple quotes that I have on my Pinterest board for hospitality. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give another person is simply including them, and that's by Toby Mac. And then true hospitality is when people leave feeling better about themselves and not better about you, by Shauna Nine Quest. And so I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, because and we both kind of, you want people to leave happy.
Yes.
You want, smiling and things like that. So they feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
And me too. I'd rather them feel good versus she did her house is so or she whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, that really takes you right to the heart of it. And then, we had talked about this before. And like hospitality to you is also like building relationships. So can you kind of speak on that?
I feel like in church, there's a lot going on and there's multiple ministries like happening all at the same time. And so you don't really have a moment to like get to know some of these people, especially the new people coming in, maybe some of the older people that have been there forever. And when you invite them to your house, you actually have like a moment to like actually, well, I mean, it's interrupted too. There's a lot going on when there's fellowship at your house.
Right.
You can actually have a conversation or even be in a group of ladies and like hearing them talk. Even though you don't have a conversation, you're being at that group at that table with those ladies and it like you feel like you know them better, even though you didn't even talk to them. But you were just listening to the conversations they were having.
Right.
And it's like a spiritual connection just kind of like happening.
I like to facilitate those opportunities for the other women. Like I might be running around or not being able to like stay in that conversation because I'm going to go over this conversation.
Yes.
When you're hosting, it's different than just actually being a guest.
Correct.
And so, but I appreciate you like facilitating that opportunity for us ladies to get to know each other.
Also, so like the men at my house, they gravitate to one, like the men are all in one. It's a small house. So the men are in one area. And so the women, were kind of like dispersed because there's the ones that don't want to be outside or it's too hot or cold or windy because we live in the South.
Yes.
And then there's the ones that don't mind outside. And so, and obviously the kids are always outside. And so that's one thing I'm always telling my husband. I'm like, when we're trying to get chairs and tables, and I'm like, I want all the ladies like in one area, like if possible. Even if I'm putting several tables together to make like this big old like table, like we're all together.
Right.
even though like there's multiple conversations going on. And
Right.
I mean, obviously you can't listen to the one
The other,
across
yeah.
3 conversations, but
Right.
it's just that unity in that, like, that
Right.
so that we're all together in, like, how the men are all together.
Right.
And so they're all listening. And sometimes it's like really a roar because there's lots of men
Yes.
talking different conversations.
Right.
And then sometimes it's quiet and they're all zeroed into the one,
Whoever's talking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do see that the men, even in my house, wherever a pastor is, and
That's where
usually
they're at.
pastor gravitates to the kitchen table.
Yes.
And so I have noticed too that sometimes it's okay to have those little one-on-one groups or
Yeah.
smaller groups, because I think I've been in a couple of those smaller women groups and some deep stuff has been talked about.
Exactly. Yes.
That when you open your home, you do, like, especially if you've done it a few times,
Mhm.
you'll notice certain things and then you want to, like, okay, we need to just tweak this a little bit.
Yes.
But usually it just plays out the way it plays
It
out.
does, yeah.
And nobody's complaining. So okay, so you mentioned your house is small, and I'm only saying this because you brought it up, and then I want to encourage, because a lot of times we live in this Pinterest filled world, social media filled world, that we think that we have to have this Instagram Pinterest home for us to be able to facilitate people coming over.
Right.
And so your home is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You were saying with the hardest part with a smaller house, you noticed it when you couldn't control the amount of people coming.
Yes, when we were,
Because you've had like the
Just-
whole church over.
yeah, because we feel like we're singling, like we're like, oh, well, what about so and so? And then,
Mhm.
then it's like, well, even at church, like it's like SSR will just be like, hey, you want to come over tonight or whatever,
Yeah.
So then I'm like, what? And I'm like panicking. And mostly just because of the food,
Yeah.
like you said, like, we want them to come and go and be like, having a good experience. Like, so when they show up to your house, and especially the ones that brought something, and then they might fall in the back of the line, and then they actually like helped me put this event on, and then I run out of food. So that has happened. I don't know if like those individuals, but I did run out of food sometimes. So then,
Oh, okay.
um, just, you feel like it's not a good feeling
Yeah.
because you want to be you want them to have a good
Right.
experience and like come and leave feeling.
And that's always in the back of our heads too, like calculating, are we going to have enough food?
Yeah.
And we haven't run out of food. We did run out of meatballs one time because we didn't have any like food for the kids. I don't think
Yes.
about that because our kids pretty much just eat whatever we eat.
Mhm.
So I forget just to like have the little kid food.
Yeah.
So that would have solved that problem.
Yeah. And that does help.
Yeah. I have a list of everybody in church. And so I like highlight a color. And so once I go through it, then I go re-highlight. So then we're not just inviting the same people over and
Right.
over. And so that way we don't leave somebody out.
Right.
I know everybody's different, and that's the beauty of hosting, is that everybody's different. And so like for us, we kind of like the smaller,
Yeah.
even though like it ends up being bigger than what we first always planned.
Yeah.
It's always bigger than what we planned.
Yeah.
But we try to make sure that we don't forget anybody.
Yes.
And so, and there's always add-ons.
Right.
So what are some of the challenges besides not having enough food or having too many people have you faced and overcome?
Mainly just prepping, like knowing your meal plan. Like when we started, at first we didn't have that group chat.
Mm-hmm.
So usually like 2 weeks before, somebody like breaks the ice and says, they're making whatever. So then it puts it in your mind like, I didn't make a decision.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but before, I mean, it would be like days before, and I would like, okay, I'm gonna make this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you just kind of spontaneous by nature, or are you a planner?
I like to run.
Okay.
Yes, it's I guess spontaneous.
Yeah.
Just whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the last minute is just kind of natural
Yeah,
for you.
because I'm not organized.
Yeah.
I
And some of the ladies in that group are very organized.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that helps. Seeing that and hear, it like helps me
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, I need to get this done too. I
Yeah.
need to like be thinking about that.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, so there's like a handful of couples, families in our church that do host these after revival fellowships. We have a hostess chat.
Mhm.
And so, we everybody will let each other know what we're thinking of making.
Mhm.
So that way we're not serving spaghetti all week long.
Yeah. No
Or
repeats
yeah,
that are too similar.
yeah. We have had a couple, and then but thankfully one like we were at the end of the week, and the other one was at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
And I think that they were made so differently that it was okay. And yet, generally, my husband likes to serve game, so nobody else
Y'all
is
are
gonna serve game.
different. Oh, yeah.
So-
You guys got that one.
We are in the holiday season, and if you are like most of us, we want to have new clothes, new outfit for our holiday get-togethers or parties or just your everyday outfits. And I highly suggest that you go try Thread Up. They are online like thrift store, consignment store, and you can find anything you want there: dress clothes, casual clothes, workout clothes, watches, purses, shoes. Most of what I wear comes from ThreadUp, and I like my majority of my closet is from ThreadUp. And if you go through the link in my show notes, you can get 45% off of your first purchase. So enjoy the holidays, enjoy your outfits, and go to ThreadUp.
Do you have any tips for opening your home and being hospitable for those that might be thinking of doing it?
Number one is just to have a small fellowship, start with, I think when it's just two families, it's nice, but it is nice, but I think the three is like perfect
Right.
because so many times when you're in a group of three,
Uh-huh.
it's always, even since we're like, you see kids, one's always to the side, but it seems
Right.
like when there's like the 3 men and 3 ladies that they'll pretty much gather together. So you guys are all in one
Right.
setting
Right.
and it's just a whole fellowship. Like it's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Because the men, that's just like their thing.
Right.
You
Right.
know? And
Right.
so us ladies, yeah, we'll be like, talking, but I don't know. They're just, I don't know.
I do agree that
It breaks the ice.
the co-ed, like our fellowships tend to be like yours, where the men are in one area. And it's not like we believe in
Segregation.
it just happens.
Yeah.
It just happens. But I do agree that when we've had much smaller fellowships with all the couples sit at a table, and we have a big table, so we're able to facilitate like, I don't know, 10 something people.
Yeah.
And so that the conversations
Mm-hmm.
don't stop.
Right.
And it is a whole different type of conversation.
Yes. Less pressure.
Yeah.
Like you think of a host, well, then now I got to talk to them. And
Well, you know what I do, and I don't know if you do the same thing. So I tend to be more on the quiet side.
yes.
And so I try to make sure that for sure I invite one of my talkative women.
Oh, yeah.
So, because my husband one time was like, well, let's invite this person, this person. I said, honey, us women are going to have like 3 things to talk about. And then that's it.
Yeah.
So we had to invite another couple.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to strategically
Mm-hmm.
plan who.
Yeah. And it does help in the beginning,
Yeah.
So like now I feel like over these years, like I could totally see in the beginning, like that would be like trying to like, you're always in your comfort zone. So you're inviting the people you're
Right.
most closest to.
Right.
And then it starts like, you're like, okay, I need to, like, God just puts it on your heart to like, I need to open it up.
Right.
I need to enlarge my circle.
Right.
Because it's healthy. And then you're just already ready at that point to like have those awkward situations of like,
Right.
okay, I'm determined to get to know this family or this lady or,
What helped us to kind of break into it. My husband is very outgoing, very like he can talk to anybody. Yes. So we're the opposite. But what helped us was opening our home for Bible study.
And I was going to mention that earlier.
Yeah. So we just and that's where we just open our home.
Because you've done that for a year, like a while.
Yeah.
It was just not a fellow, like not an actual, like.
Right. Yeah. We've been opening our home for Bible studies for a while.
Yeah.
So that helps because you don't get to choose who comes to the Bible study.
Yes.
Because you're just like, okay, whoever this one is in charge, we're going to go to this Bible study. And then whoever signs up then comes.
Yes.
And so that helps you learn to talk to whoever.
Yeah.
And then there's people that you don't really like would particularly invite, or God just brings us people, those
Mhm.
sisters that just like, like kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, and it's good because we, as a family, church family, we do need to get along good with everybody.
Yeah. Yes.
And so it does stretch you.
Yeah.
And then that makes it a lot easier. And so, but yeah, start small.
Mhm.
And then, like my husband will sometimes, oh, let's have these people over. And then, just give me a minute to think because he's much more spontaneous. I'm more the planner. We're very opposite, but that's usually what happens, right?
Yeah.
And generally, like I said, just most people aren't looking for dirt on the
No.
fans and on the whatever baseboards, but just that you will make them feel comfortable and that you just invite them. And sometimes just inviting somebody, even if they can't make it, that just lets them know that I see you
Yeah.
and I'm thinking
Mhm.
about you and I want to get to know you.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can make it or break it for somebody.
Yeah, that's true.
And so don't be afraid to invite anybody.
Yes.
Invite them. Yeah.
Yeah, just go with the flow. Your husband, sometimes it's good to not even pick.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, honey, it's your turn.
Well, generally he picks. What are the things that you've learned since starting to host?
I mean, it does reveal a lot, like, some things about yourself, like how much you do care. Like, how we say like, oh, I don't care what people think of me or whatever, but
We do.
we do.
We do.
Yeah. And like how you said about the clean house or whatever, I mean, I pre-clean and post-clean and I'll stay up till like midnight, 1 o'clock because I want to wake up. I don't want to be upset like that your house is dirty, and
Yeah.
especially when I had a newborn and I didn't skip a beat during the newborn. I mean, we just kept trucking along.
Yeah.
Once a month and in between, and I wanted my baby to be able to crawl on the floor in the morning.
Yeah.
So, and over time you're like, okay, like you said, like the baseboard, like you don't really have to go like overboard,
Yeah.
so that just wrestling through that and like finding your like, okay, what's most important is
Right.
1, 2, and 3. And especially on a pre-click because you're gonna have a lot of traffic in and out.
Yeah.
You can't control the weather. It starts to rain,
Yeah.
dust storm,
Yeah.
then you got mud, sand,
It was
dead
sandbox. Good
grass.
sand.
Yeah. Sandbox, yes. So
Yeah.
and like I come from a small family. Yeah, you say like your church is a fam. Like you hear like, oh, church family, like this is my church family. Well, I come from a small family, having like I have a brother, but we're 11 years apart. So by the time he was 5, I was already out of the house, and
Right.
so I don't really know. I'm like an only child,
Mm-hmm.
and so this kind of like is an experience of like siblings.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so
No, I see how you could. Yeah.
yeah. And, there's those ups and downs or, like as you get to know people, like trying to, um, like me and my husband recently, when we first got saved, we looked at all the church people like, oh my gosh, they're angels.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
like, it's like, oh my gosh, I want to be brother so and so, sister so and so. I want to be like that when I grow up,
Right.
And
Right.
so, and then as you get to know people, you're like, oh,
They're just as human as you.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
less pressure on self. You're like, okay, like it's okay that I have things I'm still working through, just because you're serving God doesn't mean that you've arrived. Like none of us are ever going to arrive until Jesus comes back. Yeah. And it's just like learning to love people as you know more about them.
Right.
And, if somebody like not to like, I mean, we say like not couple grudges, but like not to
Take it so personally.
taking
Yeah.
it so personal.
And you've through the hostess chat, there was a couple of incidences that I was the awkward sister on the group, right? I'm like, okay, I'm the foot in the mouth one.
Yeah.
But you, like, I went to you like on the side and you helped smooth it all over. So you have a lot of wisdom when it comes to dealing with people.
Oh, well, see, I don't notice that in the day.
So, well, I was able to come to you.
Yeah.
And even though I'm older than you, like physically
and
spiritually, but still, like, I was able to come to you and you've been doing this longer, like the hosting and like, you know how to people better in this area. So I was like, oh, that was good.
Yeah.
And so, so I appreciate, so I too have seen like, I No, I've learned how to deal with certain relationships
Yeah.
and certain people or situations
Mm-hmm.
better. So I have a little bit more confidence, especially too if you hosting a Bible study or if you go to a Bible study,
Yeah.
it's usually the same folks. So they are going to rub you the wrong way or they're going to come in a bad mood or,
Yeah.
right? We just fought and here's our, everybody's hoping, come over. Okay, ready? Hurry up, suck it up,
No.
Yeah. And so, I think when we first started hosting, like everything, I was like, okay, I know we're in the right. And this sounds weird, but I said, I know we're in the right ministry because all hell is coming against us right now. And not all hell, but because we've been through all hell.
Yeah.
But, but it was not just, okay, it was not just an easy road for us just to go into this ministry. So I know for myself, like I've learned like the relational stuff. And then also to kind of like let things go a little bit. Something Pastor Greg Mitchell said in his uprooting rejection book
Mm-hmm.
kind of like started the journey of just setting me free. So if you're one of those that, oh, my house has to be so perfect and it has to be like and I'm not necessarily mean like on a family day to day,
Mm-hmm.
but like when people come over and it has to be perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Like that comes from rejection.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang. Because I know like a couple of times pastors come over to like talk to us. We invited him over. It wasn't like he was coming over
Yeah.
like, no. But my house was lived in and we have kids. And I was like, but it's pastor. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry, my house is a mess. And he's like, don't worry about it, Christine. Like, and so anyway, so that has like helped me. But then I've also learned to like I kind of already knew how to cook for a lot of people because we had a big family.
You're right.
So that was I think I would have freaked out a little bit more.
Had
It's a smaller family, yeah. So, but I've also that's helped like and then the women, you guys have all been so helpful when we first started. And one of the funny things that came up in the group chat was that our pastor's tall and he comes in and he puts his keys somewhere.
Oh,
And so yes, and so everyone's dusting the top of their fridges. And I was like, but he doesn't do it on ours, so he puts it on the shelf. Like one of in those 3 shelves in my kitchen. So the mantle, the shelf, or the fridge, that's where he'll put them.
Oh, okay.
So I have 3 areas I have to keep.
Yeah.
But then I was like, dang, and some of those pastors are super tall, so you gotta anyway, it's just so funny.
Seen it all.
Then you gotta remember that these people coming over, these pastors, they have wives too. And so they know like what their wives go through when they host. And so and the thing that really and this, but you don't know it really until you see it all the time.
Yeah.
But these men of God are just not, and I don't want to like belittle their position, but they're very down to earth.
Yeah.
And so that was very like I love that.
Yeah, because most of them are husband, father.
Yeah. So I love it
some
too.
of them are grandpas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the best thing about hosting?
When they say thank you when they're leaving, when people are leaving, and you know that they had a good time, you could just tell that whether it was nurture or healing, whatever, like how you said, even the small pockets of conversations, like those could have been divine conversations. Right. Like this one, I really noticed it when you mentioned about inviting people that you don't really like communication with. So it was a couple that the wife has kind of like she had pulled back from like everybody, and we had one of our oldest baby churches come and fill in a service for us, and I just invited just that couple. It was just that couple and that couple. And maybe there was one other younger couple, but they left. But the 2 older ones, because they been saved together a long time, just like seeing that dialogue with them, like even though I was just like cleaning up and doing a little busy work on the side, it felt so good to see that this was their moment.
Yeah.
There's 200 miles away from each other now, and they probably got saved around the same time, and they've been saved 40 years, 30 years, whatever. And so, that is just like it's just like a really good feeling.
Yeah.
Like when you see that they're mending, like there's something,
And I can totally agree with that because like I was saying, we facilitate that in our house.
Yeah.
You know, and when there's healing, when there's connection, um, that also brings healing connection in your family.
Yes. And so yes.
It
When
just
they
kind of
leave,
leads through.
right. And then like how our pastor will say, like, when the way we're treating the evangelist, he's leaving his home, his wife, coming and spending a whole week with us,
Yeah.
living in a hotel.
Yeah.
And then he's blessing us, we're hearing from God, we're getting divine works,
Right.
all these like amazing gifts that are like we're benefiting from. And then when he leaves, we want him to stay in the
Right.
church,
Right.
we don't want him to be like, well, you guys aren't accepting, you guys are just throwing it in the trash, I'll just take it back with me.
Yeah.
No. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing with our home. We want to keep that.
Yeah.
What God brings in, this,
Yep.
all that.
And like I was saying earlier, like one of my prayers, even if it's just one woman over for tea, sometimes like the sister really needs just an ear.
Yes.
And just cry it out on my couch or whatever. And so, but no matter what the situation is or whoever is, that people are blessed and that they are refreshed. We went into let's bless the church, let's bless other people. There's not been one time that we've had people over that we have not been blessed.
Right.
Every single time. And that we could have been fighting like crazy beforehand.
Yeah.
Just because of the stress of like getting ready. This last few months, we haven't had any revivals. And so part of me was relieved, because it's like sometimes it's just like, especially around the holidays, you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. And then we always have the long one around on our anniversary. So like, oh, I get to go away. But part of me was also sad, because I'm like, we don't get that blessing in our home.
Right.
And it's so crazy because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of, you got to plan out the food. You got all these things. There's a lot of time. But like I say, we are so blessed because of it. And I've never been so blessed being in a ministry other than this one.
Yeah, that's true.
And I've been in a lot of ministries, and this one has blessed our lives more than any others.
Right.
So just real quick, like some of the negatives that I've noticed, and that we've kind of talked about, is just, people not respecting your home,
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of a given. But there are, like, what we do, we make sure like certain people that come over, we do lock our bedroom door. We have a lock on there, but and that's not because we're scared of people going in and stealing. We've had kids come in and jump on our beds and like,
Yeah.
So we just lock the door, and then we have a gate up, like, to block off my kids' rooms. So that's our personally. I know a lot of people let their open every room or whatever, but that's what we do to just kind of just keep our boundaries.
Yeah.
And then it does, you do realize like how expensive it can be.
Yeah.
But you just have to budget and just know that people are okay if they get chilly, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then most of us who do host do have other people that bring stuff too.
Yes. And most of them will ask.
Yes. And that's such a blessing, because it is a lot to buy.
Yes. And then sometimes like them just asking, and even if you already got it all covered, like it makes you even feel even like more like gratitude.
Yes.
Because
You're not alone.
you're not alone, and there was more people that were willing to help that you didn't even meet.
Yeah. If you are a guest, somebody invites you over, offer, what can I bring?
Yes.
And even if it's nothing like that, you just bless them by offering. And then teach your kids to respect other people's property.
Yeah.
Because some adults don't respect other people's property.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. We've been very, very fortunate. So I'm just thinking, but that's just something that you have to prepare for. If you have kids, you're going to have dirt. So if you don't want dirt, don't have kids. Right. If you don't want to take these little precautions or have these things possibly happen, don't host. But then you're going to miss out on the blessing.
That's true.
Like, the blessing for us is worth having the extra cleanup or the extra,
Yeah.
whatever.
And also when we're talking about creating the lists, so how you said you highlight the families and you so even if it's like we, having a cap of however many kids, so it's like,
yes,
and you kind of, you kind of feel your way And
Yeah.
then like if you felt like that fellowship, like we had another like
Yeah.
family with 2 kids, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so
Yeah. And then not to be like, I don't know, maybe this is just us, but we also, there are kids that are just not as well behaved as
yeah,
other kids. And so we also like, we've had everybody at our house before. So it's not
Yeah.
like, multiple times we've had the whole church at our house. But there are certain times where you're just like, tell me tonight, please.
yeah,
And it's just because of that time of life or something, or you're just like, not this family and this family. Or, it's summertime, they can all come because they're all going to be outside. Like, just use strategy.
strategizing. Yeah.
Make sure you have somebody that talks. And then, outside is great for kids.
Yes.
So, what are some of your favorite dishes to make?
Well, for the fellowshipping,
Yeah.
the Mississippi pot roast is always a hit. And then I also tried it with chicken Mississippi roast.
Oh, okay.
And it's really, really good. And
Okay.
so that one's a really good one.
Did you use breast on that? Chicken breast?
Any chicken, chicken breast or chicken thighs.
Oh, anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Picking something that you can make in a bulk, like you just dump it. So I like doing those dump in the crock pot because then
Yeah.
I'm off the hook pretty much.
Yeah.
And then it's very cost ineffective to ask families to bring like rice or noodles that the meat goes right on top.
Yeah.
And then
Stretches it out.
yeah, and it stretches it out.
Yeah. And that's another thing for us. Normally, like a potluck, you are at your home all day long, and then everybody shows up at like 6 o'clock or whatever. So your food is like ready. For us, we have to have our food ready and then go to church
For an hour and a half, 2 hours.
and then come back. So we got to be careful, like not to burn
Yeah.
our food, which I've done, or not to have like raw meat, like which I think we've done too. So it's like, so just like strategizing that too, like learning, like that was a big learning curve for us, was what can we leave in or prepare first. And so
Yes. Then also with we live in the South. So
Yes.
Mexican food goes a long ways.
and it's cheap.
And it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And that usually here where we live, like everybody likes it anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
And all the evangelists too, even the ones that don't like live down.
Because nobody makes green enchiladas the same. So it's like a treat, like
Well, who even makes green anything?
anywhere
We're
else.
kind of
but
giving away where we live. Okay. If you're a sleuth, you can figure out where we live.
somewhere in that region.
So, and then, okay, so do you like prepare? You kind of said like sometimes you prepare like 2 weeks ahead, or sometimes you're just like last minute.
So yeah, the hardest part is when you're away the week prior and you come back with all of your laundry, and coming back from a trip, you're already like, and your house has been empty all week. And then, you have all this laundry from a week's being away. And so coming back and being ready to, for church all day. And then you're hosting that next day. So that was like the most travel.
So what do you do for that? Because I'm like, we're going to go to conference this year.
Yeah.
And I know I have it on Friday, but still.
Yeah. So in the summer, we got back Saturday. We actually got back early. Usually if we're traveling with this one other family that we love traveling with, it's like 2:00 in the morning, Sunday. And we sleep for a couple hours and then we go to church. Yeah. But so we were back like at 10 something. And I was like, wow, we're doing really good.
Yeah.
Good time here, So I just started throwing this stuff in the laundry right away. And so even when I woke up that morning before church, swapping the loads. And then for lunch, I'm swapping the loads. And then at night after church, swapping the loads. So then I have a good dent.
Yeah.
At least there's no dirty laundry.
Yeah. You just like cook something pretty easy.
Definitely crock pot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't really done the Instant Pot because it's like how you said it, like we go to church and then we're there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So Instant Pot is like instant.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're using it just as a warm,
Yeah.
But the crock pot.
Even that big roasting pan that we bought like for the fellowships, we've burnt the edges on those too.
Those cook so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had it like on the lowest. You don't want like the middle to be cold and the outside to be burnt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is, for our dynamics, it is a big learning curve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have there been times when you just didn't want to host? And then if you did, how did God help you do that?
It's funny that you had mentioned that since we haven't had a revival. We've had a revival every single month for a couple years now, if not like right after COVID. So like 2022.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
21, 22. Yeah, we just started hitting it hard. So like you said, I was like ready for a break. Like I was like, praying. I'm like, God, like I gotta slow down. When you said like, oh, we're not even gonna have a revival at all this month, and or even like last month. And so I was okay. I was like, not like that I was like happy or whatever,
Yeah.
but I was like, "Oh, okay, like God, you're hearing, like
Mhm.
like we're gonna make some changes here." So my husband's like wanting a fellowship. He's like, "Oh, we're just gonna have to like throw a spontaneous fellowship." And I'm like,
Mine too.
"Oh my gosh,
I know.
So I didn't like. I was just like, I didn't say like no or anything, to be
Yeah.
because I'm willing. Like,
Yeah.
my husband wants to, and I see that he really wants to. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a good attitude about it. But I'm definitely not gonna encourage. But honestly, I feel like just kind of like going like, if your partner, your husband, or if a man's watching, like if your wife.
I do have men actually.
Yeah. Okay. So, if your spouse is obviously like wanting it, then there's something in them that, you don't want to be a hindrance
Yes.
to your spouse.
Because hospitality is actually a gift.
Yes.
Like you could take gift quizzes or something,
Uh-huh.
Aaron Savadra to
Uh-huh.
and my husband has hospitality.
Oh.
I'm like, go figure. So, but yeah, I agree. So my gift is not hospitality, but I don't want to stifle my husband's gift.
Right.
Just like I don't want him to stifle whatever gift I have. Right. And so that's part of being married.
Yeah. I mean,
Right. Yeah. And
these things you don't.
right. That's not, yeah.
That's not your jam.
But like I have learned to like so much stuff because my husband totally gets me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
There's been times when I too have not wanted to host, but sometimes I have found that sometimes those ones are the ones that I needed the most.
Yeah.
Or that somebody else needed me to facilitate
Yes.
for.
Yes.
And so sometimes the devil just opposes you.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I don't want to do it. Like I have an attitude or I can get an attitude. I'm going to be straight up. Like I can get an attitude very easy on whatever.
Most women.
But one thing that made it easy for my husband, and I've heard this multiple times and I don't know why it didn't click sooner, was because I know what I need done. So what I did was I made a list because I would write it out every time. I'm like, why am I writing the same things out every time? So I typed out a list and I put it in a little sleeve. And then I actually have a hosting binder. So I have my little to-do list. And then so I just hang it on the fridge like for 2 days before, and then they just can dry erase it off. And then that way I said, that way you guys pick what you're doing. That way I'm not, can you please do this? Can you please do this? Right?
Just somebody please do it.
Yes.
Just it off.
And then that way, you want to pick what you would rather pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that has worked out so much better. And then I have the hit recipes, the ones that like people really like. And so, cause I will just make something different every time, but I'm like, that gets to be too much on my brain. There's a scripture that actually goes with this. It says, he who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. Proverbs 11:25. And if that doesn't sum up hosting,
yeah,
and being hospitable, I think we've kind of touched on this, but just if for somebody who might be hesitant to open their home and be hospitable, like you were saying, like start small. And then sometimes it doesn't even have to be a group of people. It could just be before, I think when my kids were in public school and then when I was just homeschooling Jared, because I started homeschooling him first, I had ladies over for lunch a lot. And I know that there's, another lady that got sent out that she used to have ladies lunch all the time. And I think that is very, very important to the health of a church.
Yeah.
And host a baby shower. Open your home.
Yeah.
And you could say, I'll open my home, but you guys bring the stuff.
Yeah.
So then that way the work is not all on you, right? Just work it out. Like whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you're, if you get invited somewhere, what can I bring? Right. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, start off small. Or if you're an extrovert and you like to do it,
Yeah.
go for it. You're ahead of us.
Yeah. And that was one thing at the lady that got sent out, that did host luncheons. And now she's doing, well, I don't know if we're talking about the same lady, but she actually does it still. Her church is thriving and she still hosts luncheons.
Yeah,
And they're
interesting.
still heavy fellowshippers.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going there for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Yeah.
We travel with them and
Yeah.
So,
And I do notice that, okay, because when you're in a church, at least the church like ours, we all come from such different backgrounds.
mhm,
And so, like me, I was like, my parents were divorced, and so it's not like I had it easy peasy. But like my husband, we're a picket fence, parents stay together. So, and we did it like we, compared to some people, had more stability,
mhm,
but we also have people in our church that have come off the streets,
mhm,
that have come off the drugs, that have come out of a lot of stuff.
mhm.
And it almost seems like sometimes those people make the best hosts because
Yeah.
they're just so easy and free anyway, right?
Yeah.
That they're just like, whatever, just come over.
Yeah.
And I don't care
We'll
if my
worry
house is
about it.
messy.
Yeah.
It's us that kind of like lived in a box. We want to stay in that box.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what kind of background you come
Yeah.
from. You could be a hostess. And do you have any? I kind of like took your question, but do you have any advice for people maybe thinking about hosting and?
Well, besides stretching yourself, starting small, simple, um, and if your spouse is not like ready for it or
Right.
whatever, like how you mentioned the ladies, like doing a luncheon, maybe meeting on like, even if you're not ready for your house, but like,
It's gonna be a park.
go to the park or grab a coffee or something that's like not take the pressure out of the hosting per se,
Right.
but you can exercise that hospitality by meeting somebody for coffee or at the park. You
Right.
know, if they have kids, like, hey, are you available? Like, we can meet at the park. And,
Right. I think at the root of hospitality, the one thing that I've learned by being a guest and then by being a hostess is making people feel welcoming.
Yeah. In your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love it when people invite us, even if we can't go. We're like, oh, they thought of us. And, yeah. And she said, if your spouse is not willing and they're not on board yet, pray.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then do what you can.
Yeah.
Always end the podcast with the same question. What is one thing that you've learned from him?
Mom. So I would say one thing that I've learned from my mom is just taking care of the home. So taking care of the home. Like she worked a lot. She was a nurse, so she was gone 12 hours at a time. But the house, there was never any like clutter per se, like hoarding or anything like that. It was always clean. I remember like just simple memories of like, you think of carpet like gross, right? And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
carpet. But for some reason, when I was little, I mean, I would be like stretched out on the carpet, and I remember the smells of the carpet, the smells of the sofas, always meals, like, I mean, even if it was a little dysfunction, like we're eating dinner at the coffee table in front of the TV.
But you were like a lot of people. So
Yeah, I mean, it was like a thing to sit on the floor with your plate on the coffee table and watching, as a family, we're all watching a program on the basic cable. No movie. I mean, we had movies, but it was just whatever streaming on the. And then also, I really want to like give her credit for, say, like endurance. I'm not sure if I'm using the right word, but
perseverance.
Maybe perseverance. So even though I was making like crazy decisions as a teenager, 2 kids by the time I was 18, I still I didn't skip a beat on school. I didn't skip a beat on school until like 3 years down in college, and like almost 100 over, like maybe shy of 100 credits, no degree. And a 3.5 or something, and chaos. and, going on just with decisions, people that I chose to have in my life. And I would say that like that had to come from her. Like, how do there's some people that are like, college or even just graduating high school is like, it's impossible, And so I really think that she instilled a fighter in me. And maybe that's why, even with ministries, you said I was really, really busy. And that's probably like that pressure, like that I'm okay with that to proceed in pressure is because of like what she's taught me and about whatever's important. Like you do that. That's just what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, no, if you're okay. And so, yeah, like, and like, like with serving God, it's like, you're not going to give up. And,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And she's not Christian.
no,
Yeah.
no, I didn't know about God until, I mean, I knew there was a God, but I can't tell you. I just, until I met my husband and his mom was like, you guys have a church. And so I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll go to church, but I didn't expect it to be like life changing.
Yeah. Because church and a relationship with Jesus are two totally.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've attended church, different denominations, and just whether it was a funeral, just a friend going with a friend's family, tag along.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not until I was like 26.
Yeah.
And then that was, I'd never been to a church like that.
Yeah.
At the end of every service to ask you a specific question.
Yeah.
And it's up to you.
Yeah.
So it's an honor to be a part of a church that asks that question.
That cares about your salvation
Exactly. Yeah.
enough to make you uncomfortable sometimes.